championship game. Our press conference today, Coach Swinney will have some opening comments, then we'll go to questions in the room, and if time permits, we'll go to questions virtually at the end. A reminder that this is being streamed on ClemsonPlus.com as well as by our partners at Fox Carolina and 105.5 The Roar FM. So if you could please speak up so our listening audience can hear your questions, it'd be greatly appreciated. Coach, when you're ready, take it away.
All right, good morning, everybody. Always great to see y'all, but especially on this Tuesday. Because if I'm seeing y'all on this Tuesday, that means we're in the championship game. So not sure how many of y'all had this on your calendar for today. Y'all might have had vacation plans. Maybe you were going golfing today or whatever you're going to do, but I'm glad y'all are here. Excited, man. Excited to be in the ACC championship game again. And it's a great venue. I'm excited for our players, and I'm proud of our team. You know, we did not accomplish all of our regular season goals, but we did enough to be one of 2 teams out of 17 to earn the opportunity and to qualify for our championship. So really proud of that. SMU's 8-0 and we're 7-1, and so top 2 teams, and I'm also proud of our consistency, uncommon consistency. This is our 10th time in this game in 16 years. I know we're supposedly a bad program now, and we're doom and gloom, David. It's all downhill, and everything's terrible. But I think we've been in this game 2 out of the last 3 years. This is our 8th time in 10 years, and I don't think we've gone back-to-back years not being in this game since 13 and 14. So, you know, I know for all the things that have to change and how we're supposed to be like everybody else, I'd say that's pretty good. You know, 8 times in 10 years. And so really proud of that consistency. And we got 2 goals left, and that's to win the ACC and to win the closer. And if we hit them 2 goals, hey, we'll be national champs. And that's a fact. So these kids have worked their butt off. The staff has worked their tails off. Again, certainly didn't accomplish all of our regular season goals, but it's all about the postseason. That's what it's about, and that's what college football is about and is going to become about as we move forward. So I'm really happy to have the opportunity to go compete. And, you know, congratulations to Rhett and SMU. You know, we actually both have the same agent. So I know him a little bit, and certainly have competed against him a couple of times and have followed him for a long time since he was down there at Auburn as well. It's probably the first time really got to know him a little bit. But both teams have earned this opportunity to compete for the ACC title, and so it's a blessing to be in it, and honestly, it's a blessing to be able to be a part of something that very few coaches, very few players get to experience, and that is a championship game. Very few people get a chance to experience that. So it's there's 8 Power 4 teams that are playing this weekend, and it's exciting. It's what you work all year for, is to try to be in your championship. And again, you're talking, these aren't 7 and 8 team leagues anymore. I mean, it's a 17 team league. So I'm really proud of our guys for putting themselves in this position. And again, a blessing to be a part of it as we get going. And then, you know, SMU, I mean, they are what you perceive, you know, when you just track them from afar. I've had some crossover opportunity throughout the year to study them a little bit. But, man, offensively, they are, you know, 5th in the nation in scoring. They are explosive. They are fast. They play with a lot of precision. You know, this is an old football team. If you look at their team, they're all graduates and seniors. Very, very old team that's played a lot of football. You know, outside of the quarterback, he's a young player, but you know, they went to him early in the season, and he's been a game changer for them. He's super dynamic. Their running back number 1 was the kid. Those of you that remember our game against Miami last year, he was the kid that went to the house that Nate stripped in the end zone, but they recovered. So he went 80 yards. So this is a very explosive play. After we fumbled on the 1, a very, very explosive, football player, and they use him. They don't just line him up outside. They use him as a receiver too. They throw it to him in the slot. They throw it to him in the screen game. They swing it to him. And then this quarterback is just a really dynamic player. I mean, he's creative, he's dangerous. Running and throwing. And so, big challenge for us there. They're a tempo team, so something we've got to really do a good job of there. And then just, a very, very complete group of receivers. They got 4 or 5 receivers that, can really, really play. I mean, they can all run. Again, they're all seniors and have a ton of experience, so they're savvy guys. As far as knowing how to play within their scheme and their route tree, really precise in what they do. And tight end's a good player, So offensive line, same thing. They're all graduates. I think they got one young player that's a sophomore. They're right tackle there, but good group, top to bottom, balanced, explosive, challenge you in every way. Because again, they've got a dynamic quarterback. Really good skill outside, good offensive line, and an elite playmaker at running back. So that's why they're 8-0 in the league and top 10 team. They've done a really nice job. And then over on the other side, defensively, really, really stout. Very similar to the group we just played last week, but bigger. They're big ends. The one end, I don't know, he's 290 or so, 5, but they play about 6 or 7 guys in the front, and again, savvy on the back end. Really good guys. I mean, same thing. These are all 3rd and 5th year players that have most of them have been there for at least a year and have done a nice job for them. So, really, really good group. They've had a ton of sacks. I think they've had 37 sacks on the season. So another challenge for us there, and they've not given up a ton of points. So I think they're 20th in the country in scoring defense, and or 19th in the country in scoring defense. So another complete team, dynamic returner. And 1-13, they'll put those guys back there. And so very explosive players, on both sides of the ball, and a well-coached team. But look forward to competing against them and playing for a championship. Should be again a great night, great venue, and hope that we'll have. I'm sure we'll have an awesome crowd to support these guys, and again to be in this thing again for the 8th time in the past 10 years. That's a blessing, and so we just look forward to competing and trying to do the very best we can to win it.
Kind of glad you mentioned that about the older team. That was one of the questions I was going to ask. Do they remind you of kind of like a college basketball mid-major that makes the tournament because they've got all seniors and they're able to make a run because they do have all those older players that have played so much ball?
No, I just think they're a good football team. I wouldn't call them a mid-major at all. I think they're a Power 4 team that can play with anybody in the country. I don't see them as a mid-major, and I just,
I'm not comparing them to a mid-major.
Yeah.
I'm saying that like those older teams
I just think they got good players, whether they're seniors or graduates. They got good quarterbacks, a sophomore. We won the national championship with a freshman. We've started freshmen in the offensive line in national championship games. It's about, the players, but I do think that they've been together and they are a very experienced group. So that certainly has not hurt them. I mean, they got a lot of guys that have played a lot of football. So when you have that, you would expect to have a good year if you can put it together. And that's where I think they've done a nice job. They made a change at quarterback. I think that was probably the game changer for them. I mean, this kid he's a young player, but he's been the difference for them. So just a good football team, well coached, and these guys they can play with anybody for sure.
Dabo, you have a lot of guys who were on this team in 22, the last time you were there, and won. Does that give you any kind of an edge going this
No,
way?
it's all. I mean, it's nice to have. I mean, it was just 2 years ago. Like I said, we've only not been in this game 1 year, but I mean, they at least have been in it. But it's Cade was the MVP of the game. I mean, Cole had a good game. I mean, but I mean, it doesn't matter. You got to. It's all about how you play on the day you play. That's what it's about. So nothing more than that.
What was it like to see DeMonte come back and play and kind of give some insight in his recovery?
Yeah, it's good. He's not 100%, but it's good to get him back. Happy for him to at least get back in motion. But he's not. He's just still working his way back.
Do you anticipate Mickens will be available?
Hope so. We'll see. Hope so.
That as well with Shelton Lewis, he's making his returns that similar with Cape Hart's.
He's back. Shelton's back, and so he's actually looks healthiest that he's been since before he got hurt in camp. So it's been good to see that because he's been hurt all year really. So I think he's moving with some confidence. That's been good to see.
Their rush defense is 2.8 yards per rush in conference and under 100 yards a game. What does that defensive linebacker, what do they do so well?
Big, hold the point. They use their hands well. They play a ton of man coverage and make you hold the ball a little bit. But biggest thing is they play with their hands well, play good technique. They're big, strong, physical dudes that are hard to move. So that's the main thing with them. Backers are good players. It's just well coordinated, and they fit it up well, and they tackle well. It's a good tackling group. But yeah, they're I guess giving up less than 100. They're fourth in the country in rush defense. So it's big old strong dudes. I mean, again, their ends 290, almost 300 pounds. So big guys.
Dabo, can you take us through the emotions of Saturday and losing to South Carolina and then getting to watch the end of that Syracuse-Miami game and things go from there?
I mean, incredible disappointment. Obviously, we in position to win the game, and it was a great game, championship game, and it comes down to one play. And they made two great plays, and we needed one more great play, and we're in position to tie it certainly or win the game, and we had a mistake and plenty of opportunities in the game to win it, and we just didn't get it done. But it was a great game. It was a great college football game, a great matchup. Both teams played incredibly hard, very physical game, and just disappointing when you certainly don't win that game. That's a goal of its own. But yeah, because I mean you have to, that's important to everybody in this state on both sides. So, it hurts. It sucks. It's disappointing when you don't win that game. But yeah, then later on that night, you find out you're in the championship game. So it's pretty cool, and we earned it. And we went 7. Everybody, you got to play your games. It's not our fault. Our conference schedule ended 2 weeks ago. I mean, everybody, we play. We had 2 non-conference to finish the season, but yeah, it was awesome. Went from just mad and disappointment like we all are. That's what we do, man. We invested incredibly. You think, I know people get disappointed when we don't win a game, but you think how these players feel and how these coaches feel. This is our life, and so. It was down, but then all of a sudden, boom, phone starts blowing up. You could almost just like feel the wind at our back with the messages from the players, because that was a hurting locker room, and it should. When you put your heart into something, it's painful when it doesn't go your way, and so man, that was pretty cool. It was a range of emotions for sure, but that's why you play the games. And you count them all up at the end of the year. And at the end of the day, it's all about qualifying for the postseason. That's what college football is now. I mean, it's what everybody wanted. That's what we got. And so, I don't know, what was it, a few years ago, I think the Chiefs made the wild card. They didn't have a very good year, and then I think they went on and won the Super Bowl. Nobody, when they were holding that Super Bowl trophy up at the end of the year, they didn't go, oh, yeah, but you lost that game, and you lost that game. And, It's just about getting to the postseason, And that's really what it's about. I mean, and it's just going to get more and more that way because it's not going to stay at 12. And, there's going to be a lot of 3-loss teams in the playoffs in the years to come. And there will be a 3-loss team win the national championship. That'll happen, and so it just is what it is. And you can only play the games you got. We played 11 Power 4 conference games, and, we had a lot of good moments. We had a good season. And, we lost to a really good Georgia team in a tight game until the third quarter. We had a couple plays that got away, and we had a bad day against Louisville, and they're a good football team. They're 8-4 and probably 3 plays from being 10-2. They're a really good team. And then we lost to a really good South Carolina team that dominated Texas A&M. A lot of people said Texas A&M was the best team in the league, right? They dominated Texas A&M. They scored 1 million points on LSU, on Oklahoma. They scored a bunch in Tuscaloosa. I mean, they beat Missouri. They dominated a tough Kentucky team. I mean, they won. This was the second fewest points they scored all year. It was a very tough game. So it just goes to show, there's a lot of propaganda that gets, people are paid a lot of money to push all that stuff, and that's what you get. But it's college football, man. It's a very, very pretty level playing field out there on any given day. And it's we again range of emotions, but to be in our championship game and what we've earned and an opportunity. Now you control your destiny. So man, let's spot the ball and let's go see. It doesn't matter. Everybody's 0-0. Whether you're 9-3 or you're 12-0, you don't get to have a touchdown on the board when you show up in Charlotte. Everybody's 0-0. Nothing matters. Nothing matters. And no different than the NBA playoffs. You make the tournament, it don't matter. Anybody can win it. And so, we're just thankful to have a shot. Now, certainly we got to win to have a shot. I mean, we have to win because that's kind of what we've earned to this point. We've earned the opportunity, but you got to go win the game. And I think SMU should be in no matter what. I think they have had a great year, and they got a heck of a team, and so it's fun. It's fun. It was a fun Sunday yesterday or 2 days ago to be able to come in and start preparing, for an opponent. Because, when I walked into the press conference the other night, I think it was 21-0. And I didn't look at my phone again until it was 35-28. So, but that's college football. That's college football. So excited to be in it.
Before the Miami-Syracuse game, how much as a coaching staff did you guys talk about the possibility to have a contingency plan ready to go to prepare? Yeah,
we since we knew that SMU was in the game, we went ahead and did our normal breakdown. So if it did go our way, we wouldn't be starting from scratch. So when we always come in on Sundays, our support staff's always a week ahead, and they always have everything broken down. With the exception of the game that team we're getting ready to play is playing in that same time. So they add that on Sunday. But we always have our breakdown ready to go. So we went ahead and did that just like as if we were playing in it. So we weren't starting from scratch. But us coaches, we're always starting on Sunday. But our support staff's always a week ahead, and that helps us with our process of getting going on Sunday each and every week.
Tyler Brown, has he got back?
Yeah, he's back. He's back. I mean, we ran around a little last night, so Tuesday, Wednesdays are really more where you get a real true evaluation of guys. Everybody looks good. I'd look good out there on Monday night. It's the first time you've had them, and it's not long practices, and you're in vest. So it's. Some teams practice on Sunday and they even do less, but we actually have a pretty good work. We get a good head start on the opponent, but it's not a intense practice on Monday nights. You're really just kind of getting your team back going and introducing them to the opponent. But today and tomorrow's tough days, so I'll get a little better gauge. But he looks good, on the hoof.
Any questions for Coach virtually? Anybody else in the room?
Coach, building off the emotional roller coaster, what do you tell Cade when you have the MVP of this game a couple years ago, and then the Gamecocks' last play, and now trying to get him back up? What are those conversations like between you and him?
I mean, he's fine. I mean, he was excited to have an opportunity to go play this week. I mean, that's just football. You're gonna have some bad plays. I don't care who you are. Michael Jordan. I mean, he made a lot of game winners, but if you hear him, he'll talk about all the game winners he missed, right? You just keep taking the shot, man. You just keep battling. Cade had 2 game-winning drives in a row. The Kentucky game, the Pitt game, and he was on his way to 3, and he just had a bad play. Just had a bad play, bad decision, and he knows that. He'll learn from that, but. Some people focus on that, but he's made a lot of great ones. I know this. He's had a heck of a year, and he'll file that away and keep getting better. But him being the MVP in this game, honestly, that has nothing to do with Saturday. I mean, you don't carry any of that stuff over. You got to go prove it. Every time you step on the field, you got to go prove it and do what it takes for that game, that moment. But he's certainly a better player than he was, when we put him in the game that night. There's no doubt about it. He's a much, much, much better quarterback than he was then.
Does SMU's quarterback kind of remind you of any quarterbacks you guys faced early this season?
I mean, not really. I think he's just a unique, dynamic guy that can really beat you a lot of different ways. I mean, he's got a lot of different little arm angles, how he gets, release points on how he gets the ball out, with traffic and around him, and he'll still find a little window to get a screen dumped off or whatever. He's just a crafty, savvy, confident player that's gotten better as the season has gone. They've run him some, probably not as much. I would anticipate they're going to try to run him a lot, against us. So we'll see how it goes, but. I think that's the key. You got to be able to minimize their run game. He's with that. I mean, that's one of the best. It's probably the best 1-2 punch. From a pure explosiveness between him and that running back. I mean, this guy can. I mean, the kid from Pittsburgh was really, really dynamic, but the quarterback didn't run like this guy. This guy, you got 2 rockets. There are 2 rockets back there. So they're a challenge. And very good outside. Very good outside.
Does it seem like he maybe scrambles to throw more than he scrambles to run in terms of keeping
He probably has, because he's got elite receivers out there, and they do a good job. You can tell they really coach the scramble drill very well. They've made a ton of explosives, and they get him out of the pocket a lot. Sometimes it may appear as a scramble, but it's really a design, just getting him out of the pocket. So he's got great vision. And he can buys time for guys to win in the scramble drill, and then he's got options, whether he wants to run the ball or whatever. But he's a good football player, but he hasn't had to run it. I mean, they've handled a bunch of these teams that they've played. They've had a few close games, but most of these games they've been so explosive they've gotten up on some people, and he hadn't really had to. Run like he needs to, but he can do whatever he needs. I've seen it both. He's made huge plays.
What would you say?
Go ahead, Phil.
Just what do you have to say to your defensive coaches, your defensive players about tackling coming off the South Carolina game?
I mean, we obviously missed a bunch of them. Ain't much to say. But turn the tape on. There's a long line of people missed tackles on that guy. A great player. A great player. There's certainly things you can coach and try to teach off of the tape as you try to learn from it. But we're on a long line. It was I give him more credit than I do our guys blame. I think he deserves a ton of credit. He made 2 of the best plays I've seen. I mean, just a great football player. Deserves credit.
You were able to attack with balls in the air last week, especially your young wideouts. It seems like a smaller secondary this week. How does SMU attack from a defensive standpoint, balls in the air, and what do you think is the key to having success throwing the ball against?
You got to make a competitive play. There's a lot of tight coverage. Play a ton of man coverage. You know, they challenge you. You know, so they can get pressure with their 4 people up front, and that helps them. But they play, again, they'll mix it up, but it's a ton of man coverage, and so you got to make the competitive play. They do a nice job. I mean, they track the ball well. They you know, the teams that have had some success on them and have had an opportunity, whether it be Duke or whoever, you know, you've got to win those matchups. So nothing complicated. It's one-on-one most of the time. So you got to have great technique. You know, you got to have great collision balance, you know, great timing, you know, and body control, and you got to finish some of those plays. And that was a positive in the game. I thought we played really well at receiver last week. Again, there was probably a few things we needed to do a little bit more of, but we really won some matchups there. That was good. That was a positive.
Coach, what qualities do you think you saw in Cade in that ACC championship a couple seasons ago that encouraged you that he would turn into the player that he is now?
I mean, I didn't really see anything in the championship game that I didn't know going into the game. I mean, it wasn't like we just put him in and we go, wow, this guy's going to be a good player. That's what we recruited him to do. I saw it in high school. You know, I saw everything that he did as a high school player. He's a winner. He's got skill. He can run. He's got a great arm. I mean, he's got high football character. So I didn't see anything in that game in particular. It was just we just needed a spark, and he gave us a good spark. But you know, we knew he was going to be a good player when we recruited him.
Yeah, did you put in that explanation to get an explanation from those 2 replays the other day? And if you do,
for what?
Well, I was gonna say,
for what?
Yeah.
For what?
Well, just what they saw. What I don't know.
Yeah, me neither. I'll let you put it in. You know, hey, it is what it is. You know, and again, we had plenty of opportunity to win the game. We had plenty of opportunity, but it's disappointing. I mean, there was a couple huge plays, and again, I've never really been a part of a completion and then they blow the whistle and we go back to another play. Never really been a part of that. And I've had a few of those this year that have been kind of, okay, done this a long time. That's a first.
Is there a level of accountability like every job, or do they just?
Well, I don't know. That was the SEC, so I don't know how they handle their business over there.
The referees in general. It's not the first game. Like
we have some accountability within our league. You know, I mean, Al and I have had some conversations this year. That's for sure. And you know, you get a lot of, yeah, we agree. We were wrongs. So that's accountability. And then he has to handle that within his group. But there's no public accountability. I'll tell you that. And this ain't no hobby for us.
How do you fix your wrong when they have the mothership with the ACC watching it or whatever league?
Say that again?
How do you fix that when they have somebody watching at the league office?
I don't know. You know, I mean, it's a problem all over the country. I mean, it is. This has, to me, been one of the worst years in my entire coaching career. This has been one of the worst, and not just here. I'm talking about just across college football. It's been really bad. I mean, bad. Like, and again, like the targeting. They got some targetings they don't even look at. They don't even review them. Like, they don't even review them. And then you got some that they make it up. So I don't know. I mean, it's a national problem. It really is for everybody. For everybody, you know, on all sides. It's really been a tough year, I think. So.
Are these rule issues? Like, do rules need to be rewritten in your mind, or is it human judgment? What's the
both?
Like, what's the easiest fix?
It's both. It's both. I just think, you know, you probably need full-time people doing it. You know, these are big moments. You know, at this level, I mean, it's big, and you got some just unexplainable stuff. I mean, I don't know what game I was watching, but they said a guy was on the line and covered. I don't know what game was that. Was it Alabama? Oh my God! I mean, I'm like, you know, it's like these are game-changing things, right? Like these coaches, this isn't a hobby. This ain't a hobby for us, you know. And these players, they work really, really, really hard. There's always human. Anytime you have people involved, you're going to have some mistakes. But those were there's been some just wow, I can't believe that happened type moments. And then I think some of these reviews that have gone on, there's just not a lot of transparency. So I don't know. I would think you probably ask any coach. That's probably one thing all of us coaches probably agree on. We probably all wish we had some type of standard, but we don't. I had the head ref comes up to me before the game. This is before the game the other day, and I won't get into what we talked about, but it's completely opposite of how it's been called. And he tells me right before kickoff, now listen, if your linebackers do this, then that's delay a game. And this is what we've done all year. So now we're having a scramble in there when I get in there and get with the defensive coaches and make this point. He's like, well, that's just how we've called it in our league all year. So, I can't blame him if that's what they've been instructed to do in their league. That's, all he can do is do what he's been told to do. But that ain't how we do it. And now all of a sudden you're having to change something, so it's kind of frustrating. But again, there's no national standard. And again, I would say most coaches, if there was a way, you wish you had a national standard, and you wish it was a full-time deal.
League by league officials identified as an ACC ref, I
think so.
NCAA ref.
Yeah, I think so. And then I think sometimes you have. People will start questioning integrity and things like that. This league's, you're playing this league, and you got this league's officials doing that, and it's no different. We go to SEC. Sometimes we have ACC refs, and I think it should be, just you have one league, a national standard. And again, that's a complicated thing, but I do know this. Steve Shaw is an amazing guy, one of the smartest people out there, and he can figure it out. But probably would have to be some type of commitment from all the leagues financially to be able to orchestrate that.
I wanted to ask you, because the NFL does it different with targeting and how a player is penalized, they don't really toss a guy out unless it's just blatant, obvious. Is that something maybe college football can change, where a kid is just playing football and makes a football play and has a mistake, instead of getting tossed? Maybe it's just a 15-yard penalty and then you do it 2 times.
Yeah. And again, but first of all, what is targeting? Yeah. I don't know what it is. I thought I knew what it was, but I don't really know. Just because of, you can have the exact same play called targeting this game, and then in this game it's not. So I don't really even know what it is. It's so inconsistent. But I definitely think for sure it'd be. I think that would be a good change, but who knows?
I'm not asking you to reveal them, but do you feel like there are any adjustments that y'all need to make in terms of defending rushing quarterbacks, just given you have another one coming up this weekend?
Well, hopefully Peter Woods can hold on to him. We were all over him. You just got to tackle. We got to tackle. Just need our guy to be better than their guy. And, there's certainly things you try to do, but at the end of the day, sometimes this, a guy's he just wins a matchup. And, there's always things you try to do, but number one, we got to tackle. Got to tackle the guy.
I guess we're a day away from signing day. Are you guys still recruiting guys, or is the class pretty much set?
Recruiting never stops. You know that. Ever. Never. It just never stops. Not in today's world. It never stops. We're mostly done with this class, but we're on to the next group. But and then you got obviously we're going to sign a really good group tomorrow. That again, we don't have a lot of room for a lot of guys, and we'll have a few guys that want a bigger role that will move on, but. We'll have to see how that all plays out next week, just like everybody else. But don't anticipate any of our starters leaving, and don't anticipate, but there might be a couple pro guys that you don't know. So all those things impact, kind of what you can and can't do. Because again, we don't have a lot of flexibility right now, within the roster. It'll be different. It'll be different next year, for sure. But how we'll have to see if something unexpected happens. But where we are right now, we love the class that's coming in. We feel like we've got the needs that we have based on who we knows back on our roster and what we project as our starters and all that type of stuff, and who our depth guys are going to be, and et cetera. But we'll have to see next week, for sure, on whether or not we'll stay active in this class.
What did you think of Fran Brown shouting you out after the Syracuse game?
I didn't see that. I didn't see the after the game thing. I had like 100 people send that to me, so I saw it then. But I got the FaceTime. That was quite the experience. So he was fired up, and so really appreciated that, man. It was really cool moment, and man, what a year he's had. They did a great job up there, and a great finish for them, and helped them be 6-2 and us 7-1. So we're heading to Charlotte. Not sure how many of y'all had that on your plans. Y'all probably. I'm sorry I messed up some of y'all's early Christmas plans, but y'all can blame old Fran Brown. But we're happy to be heading up there, and again, it's going to be a tough matchup, but can't wait to go compete.
Will you send Syracuse anything like some Clemson fans have been like?
Man, if we win the national championship, he's going to be riding in the car with me through downtown Clemson. Just go ahead and print that right now. Y'all write it down. We win, and why not? Why not? I mean, it's just football. We got a bunch of good football players. All you got to do is win the game you're playing. Why not? I mean, somebody's going to win it. And we fortunate enough to win this game. You get a ticket to Willy Wonka's factory, right? You get to go. On the magic elevator, and you get to be in the tournament. And so if we're fortunate to win this game and get that opportunity, anything can happen. Anything can happen. I think we were the first 15-0 team, national championship team. Maybe we could be the first 3-loss team. Boy, that would upset some people. God, y'all would have to take a bunch of stuff back that y'all say every day. That would really disappoint some people. But why not? Why not?
You might have a bye.
What's that?
You'd have a bye, probably.
Maybe, yeah. Who knows, man? Who knows? Why not? But hey, if that happens, let's dream big. Why not? Fran Brown, he's going to be riding in the car with me, convertible, through downtown Clemson. All right? And Kornblute, man, I might even let you be on the stage with us. How about it?
Stand to the side.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, man. So why not? That's postseason. It's postseason. We ain't got to go play 12 games. We just got to win a few of them. Let's see what happens. We're going to give it all we got. I promise you that. We'll give it all we got. And then we'll regroup and go from there.
Coach, I have to ask this. I would love to be on the stage with you. I've done it twice, so I would love to do it a third time.
Okay.
But there is a possibility you could win Saturday and still not make the playoff. That's out there. That is within a realm of possibility.
No, that's not possible.
Tulane lost last week.
Tulane lost.
That's not possible. I'm not. What are you drinking? That ain't possible. That ain't possible.
Hey, might have played first round.
So what? Who cares? Let's go. Hey, sign me up. I don't care. Let's go. Where are we going? No. This is we control our destiny. We win. We're in. SMU wins. They're in. I think they should be in no matter what. But got to go play the game. See what happens.
If you think South Carolina gets in?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I think they're certainly good enough to play with anybody, but I don't know. I mean, it's the system is the system, right? I mean, I didn't make the system. If you're gonna have a national championship, you gotta recognize the nation, you know. And you know, that's all you can do. That's what everybody wanted. So that's where we are. And it's going to go to 16 or whatever. But I don't know. I think they certainly can play with anybody.
If you both got in, would you like a rematch?
Let's do it. Let's go. I agree with that. That's going to happen.
Which round would you?
Any round. How about let's do the Natty in Atlanta. How good would that be? An all South Carolina national championship. Hey man, it could happen. Why not? Like why not? What? I mean, and that's going to happen though. I mean, it's going to happen. You're going to see rematches, but it's the same thing in the NFL. How many times in the NFL does a team lose to somebody, right, or whatever, and then they got to play each other again in the playoffs, and it might be 2 weeks later. We've seen that. So you don't know. It's going to happen. It's going to be a lot happen over the next, I would say, 3 to 5 years. We're going to be looking at a completely different situation anyway, but that's where we are right now. Should be fun.
One more, just on a serious note, were you able to see the hit on?
I was serious. What about what I just said wasn't serious? Are you alluding to I'm not serious?
No, 100%.
I'm dead serious.
Just the hit on Trevor, I didn't joke about. Were you able to see that?
Okay.
With them? Of course,
Yeah, actually, my wife texted Amanda, his mama, right after. She saw it. I didn't see it until after the fact, but you know, think he's going to be okay. But that's a scary situation for sure.
All right, thank you, Coach. We'll get everything turned over for Wade Woodhouse here in just a minute.